Hi, this is the Annie Dodge Wauneka presentation. Please introduce yourself. My name is Annie Dodge Wauneka, and I was born in 1910 in the Sawmill area of the Navajo Reservation in Arizona. My father's name is Henry Chi Dodge. I am from the Tsinejikine Honeycombed Rock Cliff Dwelling People Clan. What was your childhood like? I began my education at the age of 8 when I enrolled at the Bureau of Indian Affairs boarding school at Fort Defiance, Arizona. I was the youngest of 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. Their names were Thomas, Ben, Mary, and me. I had some sad experiences during my first years in school. The terrible flu epidemic of World War I killed hundreds of Navajos, and the Fort Defiance school was hit very hard. Some classmates went home and never returned. I contracted the disease, but mildly, and I remained at school. How long did you continue your education? I continued school until 1928. Then, the completion of 11th grade ended my formal schooling. I did not graduate from school, but that did not end my education. I always had a great desire to learn, and my education had continued throughout my life. Much of it came from my father, Navajo Tribal Chairman Henry Chi Dodge. How did you know the problems that occurred within the Navajo people? My dad served from 1923 to 1928 as chairman of the Navajo Tribal Council, when it consisted of 12 members and was known as the Business Council, and again from 1944 to 1947, when he died in office on January 7, 1947. I was working closely with him and learned much from my father. I also began to understand the poverty and other problems of my people. Especially in those early years, I witnessed the bitterness caused by the stock reduction program of the 1930s. I later thought of it as the most delicate and most disastrous situation that the Navajo leaders and people have faced since the Long Walk and virtual imprisonment at the Bosque Redondo, Fort Sumner in New Mexico. But what advice did your father give you? I had always been close to my father, but during his years as chairman, I became even closer, especially during the final days of his illness. One of his last pieces of advice to me and the other 3 children was, Do not let my straight rope fall to the ground. If you discover it dropping, quickly one of you pick it up and hold it aloft and straight. At first I was puzzled, but soon I interpreted it mean simple. Do not allow my ideals and leadership to suffer or fall to the ground. What happened during 1951? In 1951, only 4 years after my father's death, I was elected to the Navajo Tribal Council, winning over 2 men. I took my seat that year. I was the first woman member of the Navajo Tribal Council, representing in District 17 the Clageto and Wide Ruins precincts. My husband and I, by this time, were the sole owners of the Dodge estate at Tanner Springs. We were considered wealthy ranchers. In the election in the fall of 1954, we both, husband and wife, were candidates for the seat on the Navajo Tribal Council. I won, and I had served ever since until the 1980s. What disease kept on infecting the Navajo people? For many years, tuberculosis had been an ever-increasing menace to the health of Navajo people. Statistics show that deaths from the infectious disease were becoming more and more common. I concentrated my intelligence and my energies in fighting it. If I was called a crusader, it was originally because of my determined battle against tuberculosis. The Western Tuberculosis Association held its annual conference in Las Vegas in September 1962, and I was the guest of honor. A plaque was presented to me in recognition of my efforts to free my people from the illness. What did you teach the Navajo people? I taught and encouraged better health habits. I advised the people to improve their home conditions. Only by doing those things, I explained, could they expect to stay well. I talked about getting money through the Navajo Tribal Council to make home improvements. I knew little change could be expected immediately, but I hoped I could convince the patients and the tribe in general that dirt floors should be a thing of the past. I made it plain that sanitation could be improved by building toilets a sensible distance from the hogans. Also, I thought that improvement of the water supply was necessary to good health and that, whenever possible, the people should have running water in their homes. Explain the infant layets project. The infant death rate was another matter that caused me great concern. Many babies, who apparently were healthy at birth, died within a short time of diarrhea and dysentery. This was particularly true when births occurred in the hogans. A baby's chances of living were much greater when they were born in hospitals where instructions were given for later care. Another problem was the lack of proper clothing for the newborn infants. The custom long had been a delay getting clothes for a child until after it was born. I knew it was a tradition. However, a baby merely wrapped in a strip of blanket, and it was likely to contract pneumonia. I knew the mothers were deeply concerned, but they did not know what to do. Then I decided to try to get money for the layets through the Navajo Tribal Council. My plan permitted mothers to go to the hospitals to deliver their babies, knowing that there would be clothes for the little ones before they went home. My plan was adopted. What is the greatest award you have ever received? It was a Presidential Medal of Freedom. President John F. Kennedy sent me the news by telegram in the fall of 1963, and the presentation was made by President Lyndon B. Johnson on December 6, after President Kennedy's assassination. I was the first Indian of the Southwest to be so honored. The Presidential Medal of Freedom is the highest civilian honor presented to individuals in peacetime. Only men and women who have made outstanding contributions to the security of the nation, the world, peace, or to cultural endeavor are considered. And that's it. Thank you.